Coach, this is something I was gonna say to you though, because I yawned there.
Uh-huh.
I was saying, have you ever slept so good that you wake up tired and you're just mad about it?
Oh
That's
yeah. It takes me when I get those good sleeps, I don't want to deal with anything for a while.
yeah. Well, no, that's how I'm feeling right now. I like last night I got home from everything that was going on. My sister's 18th birthday was yesterday, and we took her out to eat, and then we did some other things which I'll get into. But I got home and it was like probably like midnight, and I just out like a light, and then I woke up at 11 o'clock. So like I got a good sleep. I don't know what happened. I was out, so much
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
But I woke up and I still feel tired, and I don't know. I don't know what to do. Usually I would just go for a run, but like I've been kind of out of that recently. Although I might be getting a job doing deliveries for Lowe's.
Oh,
Yeah, but my problem is if I get that job, I gotta get back in my physical shape where I'm like running and moving and whatever. Cause like I feel kind of slouchy recently. Cause it's like home delivery. You gotta go into people's homes, deliver fridges, whole fridges.
you gotta know how to work a dolly.
Dolly,
It's all
yeah,
muscle memory, bro. All you got to do is get into it. It's gonna suck for the first couple days, but you'll get right back into it.
yeah. All right, alrighty, guys. How's it going? It's Devin here. It's Coach. We're here on another pop up.
Pop!
Pop, pop, pop.
Don't
And
get popped.
yeah, and today we'll be talking about adult world. Oh yeah, that's the kicker.
What?
Colin,
What?
we'll, we'll get there. Colin
Oh,
Kaepernick
okay.
settlement, and what was the other thing? Jussie Smullet and his whole story and how that's possibly a big hindrance and could potentially be a firestorm to various different communities. This is the pop up.
Pop.
Alrighty, guys. So now that I left you with that intro, you're probably all going adult world, right? So 18th birthday of my sister comes up. Not going to mention names because, I don't need none of that. And we go out, we have a good time, eat out at Applebee's. I pay for it, her and her friend pay for the dinner. And then we're getting ready to head home, and they're like, man, Sierra's like, I wanted to do, oh, well, there it went. I just said her name. Anyway,
Ah, busted. You better.
but yeah, it's all right. It's whatever. She posted it on her Snapchat for
Oh,
so it
you're
doesn't matter.
good then.
Yeah,
You're good.
but she goes, hey, like I want to do something else, and then she says, let's go to her and her friends say, let's go to Adult World, and I'm like, oh boy, and
Wait,
at
wait, wait,
first,
wait, wait, wait. You went to adult world with your sister and her friend?
yeah, well, hold on,
Okay,
listen, originally
go ahead.
I
Go
wasn't
ahead.
gonna go. I wasn't gonna go, but then they were like, well, I don't want to cut you out. That's what her friend said to me, and I was like, well, I said it'd probably be better if I went since it's her first time going into some place like that. I myself have only been to an adult store like one time, like actual adult store, and
I go all the time, bro. It's one of my pastimes.
it's one of your it's one of your pastimes. What do you go in there for? Like, I'm curious. I'm curious. Like, to me, I went in there just to laugh, kind of at all the novelty because it's interesting. The one shop I went to was kind of like it was in State College, and it was pretty tame compared to the actual adult world that I went to. I'm not going to stick out the location, but it was pretty
Bro,
tame compared to this
I
one I went
go
to.
in there with the lady friend and we're picking out something to have some fun with. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
It's the whole thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I don't go in there like alone, like in the back
Yeah.
room doing
Well,
weird shit.
we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So, she offers, and I'm just like, well, it'd probably be better if I went. And I was like, so we'll go in. And also, she didn't have her driver's license yet, so she has a permit. So we were
Uh-huh.
like, oh, well, like we needed to make sure that we take. I get in there and be like, hey, like, is it okay? She comes in here. And whatever. And we walked in. Then, and of course, I walked in and talked to the guy at the front desk. And this is the first thing I noticed as soon as you walked in.
Uh-huh.
Well, not before you even walked in. There's a lot of cars parked there at 11 o'clock at night. A lot of cars. And there
It's a
was,
hot spot.
yeah, it was like 11 o'clock at night. And we go in, and then the demographic was what was interesting. It was all old dudes. They all got gray in their face. Every single one of them. It was all old guys. And we go in, and I walk up to the front counter and I say, hey, is it okay? My sister comes in. She doesn't have her driver's license, but she just turned 18 today. I have some kind of a verification. He no sooner didn't even look. He just said, yeah, it's fine. She could come in. Yeah. And I just thought it was so funny.
Like,
yeah, right. Exactly. That's what I was thinking in my head. Like, wow, like, I mean, what's the sign for? Just to deter people? Like, it just keeps most people out. So,
right.
like, well, if you got the balls to come in, then, come in. And, of course, they go over, they're looking at all the gag stuff and everything, and I'm just sitting there. And the second thing I noticed after with the dudes and everything was that they were selling pipes. Like pot smoking pipes and stuff.
Oh.
Like bongs and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and I was like, wow, I didn't know they sold this stuff here, which kind of gave me like this Spencer's kind of feel.
Spencer's.
I mean? Yeah. Like, well,
that was the show. I mean, that was the store.
Yeah. Well, I always thought about Spencer. One thing, sidetrack. Spencer's. When you go into Spencer's, it's always so, I don't know, like it just boggles my mind that anybody can walk in there. But then like Adult World, you can't, even though like I mean they don't blatantly show everything like they do at Spence or at Adult World, but it's just interesting because there's
a secret back room, bro.
There's a secret back room. Well, we're about to get into that too. So as we keep moving around, we're just looking at all the things, and and like you look at all the movies and stuff, and they're still looking at all the novelty things, and I was just kind of laughing at some of the crazy. Because here's what I'll say about Adult World versus okay. So if you've never been into an Adult World before, it's like being on Pornhub, but you can see every kind of video that exists in like a second. Like you can just look around, one head swivel, and you see everything that's ever been on Pornhub. That's what like being an Adult World's like. Everything. It's crazy. And,
you're inside Pornhub.
Yeah, it's like being inside a Pornhub but being able to see all of it all at once. That's what it's like. Right. And looking around all these movies, and I just started laughing at like some of the titles of some of the movies. It just cracked me up.
What was one of the titles like?
It was like because it's always so like over exaggerated. It's like big whore milfs suck off 5 dudes, like, you know what I mean, like so specific, but I just thought it was great.
Backdoor Barnyard 64 and shit.
60 yeah. Backyard Barnyard 69 with not bukkake. What is that, bukkake or? Oh yeah, bukkake. I used to call it butt cake. I used to call it butt cake because I didn't know how to pronounce it, and people were like, "No, it's bukkake," and I'm like it's butt cake. I'm like, I call it butt cake.
Jeff, did you get a membership? Let's be real.
It was tempting. It really was. But then I saw. So we go over, and then of course the awkward moment. The dildos are there, and they're looking at the dildos.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, and then it hit me like, this is the real reason why I wanted to be here, because I wanted to make sure that none of that stuff was being bought. But again, at the same time, it's like, if she really wanted to buy that stuff while I was there, I was gonna be geeked out, because I was gonna be like, yo, like I'm waiting.
Like I gotta go.
Like I'll be in the car. I don't want to know. I don't want to know what any of you want. But yeah, so we're looking at that stuff, and then as I turn to my left, the back rooms are back there, and you know what happens in the back rooms?
Creepers.
Yeah, right. Well, he comes out. It was this old dude, and he just looked at my sister and her friend, and like grinned, and like she's like, and her friend like geeks out and goes, "Oh my god, he just came out of the back room," like said it real loud, and we're like, "Bro, like you gotta keep your cool in here. Like there's more of them than there is of us.
There's more creep. You're in Creeper Central. Did they know? They didn't know what to expect, or did they know?
It was, I don't know. It was probably like they knew what to expect, but they just didn't, you know what I mean? Like whenever, it's like, you know how a football game is, right? We'll always go back to football. Like it's like before the game, like what a football game is. You've played a football game before, you've been there, but like there's always something like that little nerve at you that's like, oh, like when you're actually in it for that, like the start of a game or something, like, wow, like this is actually it.
Right.
Well, that was kind of like it, because they got in there, and then they were like, they actually started seeing the stuff, and they were like, oh my god, like right. Like they're actually experiencing it, because they expected this, but then whenever they see it, they're like, they almost can't believe it, and that's that guy. They weren't ready yet. Yeah, I think the old guy comes out like smirks at him, like, oh hey, and and I just thought it was so funny, like I'm like keep like. Like, don't make a big deal about this, like you came into their territory, like they'll be like, let's be real.
You came to Creeper World. You gotta act cool. Act cool. We're in Creeper World.
Right. Act like you've been here before. Seriously.
Right. Yo, that's hilarious though. But I don't think. I mean, that would be weird for me, for my little sister to go in there. I'd probably be like, "Yo, what the fuck are we doing here?" But after a minute, I would probably be off doing, and she'd probably be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe my brother's this weird." I'd be
No.
looking at some weird fetish fucking videos and shit.
Just looking at like honestly, looking at the back of porn DVDs is the funniest thing ever because the descriptions are just so goofy. Like
Right.
it's almost like you can't take them seriously. It really isn't.
Or the scenarios and poor acting. They try to make it look like, is
It's
it, I wonder if, is that like something they tell each other? We don't want this acting to be too good, so just be fucking weird
yeah.
as shit, and we're gonna make it. That's our brand right there. Piss poor acting and weird scenarios and shit, yo.
Yeah. Well,
It's hilarious.
they joke around about movie directors, like the movie directors who actually can't direct do porn. And the reason why is because you don't have to be good at actually telling a story. Because you
You
can just
just
make it so blatant. It's like the stories. This has nothing to do about a story. This is all about two people fucking. So you can
right.
just write a
Here's a
script
fun
that gets
fact.
yeah, what?
Here is a fun fact.
Oh, go ahead.
Fucking the Sylvester Stallone used to be in porn before he did Rocky.
Yeah, no, I've heard that before. There's so many celebrities that have been in porn before.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. That's, I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, it's one of those things. You go to LA to be an actor and you gotta pay the bills. Next thing you know, you're in Blowjobs 55.
Blowjobs 55, the comp, the total compilation.
I love it. It's such a fucking sleazy game. You gotta love it.
Yeah, but as we left, to finish off the story, as we left, my sister's friend bought her a dick lollipop, and I knew that was gonna happen. So I was
A
like,
dick
the
lollipop.
dick lollipop. So they bought it. You know, she ate it, I assume, and that was the end of it.
Okay.
But I
That's
mean
a
the
lot.
whole experience though, because like I said, when I went to the adult shop, the other adult shop, it was actually a lot younger people. Like it was a little bit more like I don't know. It didn't feel as like dirty. Do you know what I mean? Like it felt okay to be in, but like this place just felt like so scummy and like you know, and I
It
don't.
was
And it,
dirty.
yeah, it just felt dirty. It felt so dirty. But
They're in the back room doing weird shit to themselves, bro. Trust
yeah.
me.
I know, and I was sitting there thinking about it from like the old person's perspective. I'm like, you know, I said, man, like when you're 50 or something, you know, like your sexual life might those moments of your life might be behind you, you know. So I get it, you know, and you probably still have those needs. So you know, like I'm not really gonna sit here and judge. Like when I walked in, I'm like, you know, after thinking about it for like a solid minute, I was like, I can't judge these dudes that are in here. Like you know, it's their mo. You know, who knows? It could be us someday. It,
I'm gonna be 80 going in with my wife, lady friend, whatever, still fucking picking weird porn out, bro. It's gonna be part of my. It's gonna be my niche.
It's gonna be weird. I wish if they allow recording in those places, I'd love to like record like you just going into one of those places with
It'd
someone.
just be
When
like
you're 80, when you're 80 though.
Dirk Diggler. What's the name of that movie? That's one of my favorite movies, yo, with Burt Reynolds. Boogie Nights.
Boogie Nights, yeah.
That movie was hilarious. Hilarious. But it just shows you. I wish we needed to get that interview with that one Allie. This would have been perfect to
Yeah,
talk with
this would
her
be a
about.
great story. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
hey, we'll keep it in the bank. We'll keep it in the bank, and we'll you know,
Right.
if we get somebody around, we'll talk to them. But yeah. Oh man, yeah. But it was a good time though, definitely. You know, and if anybody hasn't been to Adult World and you're 18 or older, I totally recommend the experience. You know.
Yeah, tell us your drop it in the comments. Ask us a question about the adult world.
Yeah.
I
Ask
have
us a
some
question.
expertise in that.
Yeah, Coach has all the expertise. You know, yeah. Go ask if you have any questions about Adult World. Please ask. We'll be here. We'll be here. But we're moving on now. So, let's go to Jussie Smollett, Coach. So go ahead. Tell me about the new developments with Jussie Smollett.
Yeah, this is getting out of control. Like we covered this before, and told you like it just doesn't make any sense what he's saying. The story don't make sense. None of it added up. So I guess it was Friday night that there was two Nigerian brothers that were arrested, and I guess they told the Chicago PD that Jussie hired them to do that, what was done to him. I guess they gave him some rope that they bought from a Ace Hardware. They went to their house, found masks and stuff. Um, that is what was said, and they were let go. and now the Chicago PD is saying they want to talk to Jussie. He lawyered up, I guess so. Sometime this week he's going to have to come in and explain himself. Now, the craziness behind all this, like everybody like had their question this in all of this, like it just doesn't sound right. Me personally, I thought he went on a date, went out for some strange or something like that, some weird shit that he wasn't normally doing. Might have been a little tipsy, did some shit he shouldn't did, and got caught up into some bullshit. But if this comes out to be true, which is going in that direction, this dude has got to be sick in his mind. Because what is the reasoning behind that you? I mean, the Magna people already getting the fucking worst, you know,
Rep.
rep in the world. They're getting shitted on, and I can understand the people, but not all of the people that are MAGA are these racist pricks. We all know that by now, but there is a lot. So putting that together and the temperature of all the race and the LGBT, whatever that's called. I'm sorry, I mistake that all the time. But the gay community, you just put all three of those things in like inside of a bubble, and it's ready to blow up because you wanted to make up some story. For what reason? It's out of control. This dude has got to be sick in his head. He went on Good Morning America with one of the credible people I think that are in the game as far as credibility could be, with Robin Roberts, and was talking about this and saying that this has happened, and it's coming out that you set this up for what reason? You know what I mean? It's just crazy to me, bro, because this could have horribly went wrong.
Yeah.
It could have started so much bullshit.
Well, I mean, from what I can see, I mean, the only thing you do is from a career perspective, you're doing it to create some hype around you, to keep some relevance around you. And, because that's the thing about being a star in today's world is, I mean, eventually it's 15 minutes of fame and then you fade into irrelevance. And,
right.
I think maybe that he put this story together to keep from fading into irrelevancy.
Right.
I mean, that's what it seems like, because it just seems so fabricated. I mean, especially whenever what he said, he hired these guys to do this.
Well, yeah, that's what the guy said to them. Like, I guess one of the guys was a security and one was an extra on the show. That's how they met. So they can tie these guys to him, undoubtedly. So now it's he said, she said, and what he's doing is taking the lawyer up route. So he's probably not going to say too much, but he's going to have to go in and talk to them, or they're going to, do what they have to do and go on with the evidence that they have. So like you said, it could be that simple. Is like, let's just face it, Empire is going out. I mean, it ran its course. He might have looked at the offers on the table. There was nothing there of any significance to further his career, and he came up with this to do it. That's just a sad thing. You had all the connected people. You had one of Lee Daniels. You could have worked something out with him, worked harder to get a career. You had a lot of support from a lot of actors that came out when his story broke. Why didn't you just work at your craft to get there? If you had to use this, you're a sick person to try to further your career. And we can only imagine how much this happens in Hollyweird.
Hollyweird. Yeah, no, I agree. And you're right, because he had people supporting him, so it almost like says... Well, if you're planning something, if you're planning like a not a smear campaign per se, but what would I call it? A relevancy campaign where you're gonna fake a story, a conspiracy campaign. We'll call it something like that, right? Like you're gonna create a conspiracy or a controversy around yourself to put you in relevancy. Then at that point, it could backfire so horribly. It could. I mean, and you have to take that risk whenever you try and do something like this, because you have to understand, like, if you get caught, if you get found out, which usually the truth does surface, it's a wrap, because you've just destroyed your career. And honestly, like you said, whenever you bring up that he had people supporting him, he's such an idiot, because he needs to realize that he didn't need to boost himself up. He had people around him surrounding him. Maybe it was going to take a little bit more time to get that next big role or whatever. But you could have done it. Easily could have done it.
You're sitting around some of the powerful players in your lane in Hollywood. Taraji P. Henson, she's one of the power players in Hollywood as she's building her career. You could have found some where you didn't have to do this, and it's built on such hate, though, bro. That's what I mean. To me, I don't like. Obviously, you have to be sick to do this. You have to be sick in your brain to think of something like this. But I don't have no mercy for that. Get some love. Surround yourself with people to put yourself in a better predicament. Don't do some shit like that, because America is already on edge with everything that's going on, and you feeling that fire. I don't have no, after a while, after I sit and I probably process it a little more and get more information, I mean, my heart will start to show and have some kind of feeling for it and be like, I feel sorry for you. But at this particular point, I'm like, yo, you need to be drugged. You get everything that you deserve at this particular point outside of physical harm. Like, but whatever happens to you, you deserve it.
Yeah. Well, hey, our guy Melvin from the Wake Up Podcast got at us. He said, hey, whatever happened was probably not a good look for his brand and his team, and big capital letters team. More than likely suggested this version over the truth. I think Melvin's saying that this was like his team more than likely suggested this version over the truth. Like there was a true situation to it, and he said, oh no, take it this way.
Right.
He did call his manager. He did call his manager before the police, right?
Yeah. He definitely had a conversation. I think they said that he didn't actually meet with the police for like 2 hours or something like that. That's a long time.
Yeah, that is a long time, especially after a crime. I mean, 2 hours not to speak to somebody. I mean, because, most 911 responses like, 15, 20 minutes, especially right after the call. So, I mean, 2 hours after the fact, that's a lot of time for a lot to happen.
Right. A lot of development. A lot of change, a lot of scheming, and then to go on Good Morning America and just fabricate it even more. You know what I'm saying? Because at this particular point, like we said before when we covered it the first time, I told you I don't believe none of that. So at this particular point, I'm saying it's just, you're digging so big of a hole that you can't ask for forgiveness, and there's no way. You should just find somewhere to go get help, because you will never get any kind of support to me, and it has nothing to do with you being gay or none of that stuff, because that's not my thing. It's just that you fabricated something that makes the black community up and rise, the Magna community up and rise. I keep saying MAGA community, and the gay community too. Everybody is now like, oh my God, what did we just like speak out on support? Now that it's a big mess. Like it could have got bad.
Yeah, it could have got ugly, and that's the real shitty thing about these groups of people, these people that try to do this, is they make a lot of other people and their movements look bad,
right?
And then get them into all these kind of predicaments that they don't want to be in, and that to me is just that's something I can't stand, because me personally, I always take everyone at their individual level. Like I never just look at like a whole group of people and say your whole group is wrong. Even groups that I don't particularly care for, like.
Well, that's what we do around here. That's what we're trying to present. Like a bad person is a bad person.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, there can be a group of bad people too. I mean, I'm not saying that there can't be groups of bad people. I'm just saying that every part or cog of a group or whatever isn't a bad person, and they all have they're all a person at the end of the day. And that was pretty much what I was getting at there. Yeah. So even communities I don't like.
Yeah, shout out who Melvin was on here. Melvin Worldwide Wall was popping. He said something. We had a conversation earlier. We were talking about this inboxing and just we go back and forth on issues and stuff. And he said something that I thought was true too. I think he kind of touched on it in the comment he just left. Was there's so much of this going on. There was no need for it to be made up. It's already there. Like it. And to me to say like, okay, this is how we're going to twist this. Let's blame it on MAGA. They already getting enough bullshit. And to arise all that, that's the thing right there that gets me boiled. Like you just started something in one day that could have imploded, could have just exploded and been real ugly. And I just don't see it. He could have just, whatever happened. He would have still got the support from everybody if he was out creeping. If you were out being a creeper and you're looking for some strange and you got caught up into some bullshit, you're a little tipsy, say that.
Yeah, say that instead of
that's simple.
Yeah, say that instead of making up the shit that you had made already. I don't get it.
I don't get it.
Yeah,
so,
but it is what it is.
So everybody's dragging him. I'm dragging him too. I'm like I'm trying to find. I'm kind of upset about it, to be honest, because like for the things I just mentioned, but I'm trying to find the jokes to hit him with. You
Well,
know what I mean?
well, I
I'm
mean,
sure. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's just so weird to. I think it's just weird. And this is what I think is funny about the whole situation is that the lengths that someone would go to make up a story. I mean, can you imagine having that conversation where you just pull up like two guys used to work with, like, hey guys, come here, listen, listen.
Yeah.
Hey, I need you guys to like
do this.
I need you to wear these hats and beat the shit out of me.
Go get a rope.
Get
make
a rope.
A noose.
Make a noose, and I need you to I need you to do this for me so we can blame it on you guys, the MAGA people, and like they're like, okay. He's like, yeah, here, I'll pay you some money, do it. Okay, fine, I mean, it's one of those things where like if someone looked at me and said, I'm just gonna pay you money, I'd be like, well, do I do it? And then that's the real story. If you're the person that's like who's being asked to help him frame a story, do you do it?
Right. And what's the negotiation? Like, what was the price? What was the price? Like you said, I give you this much. You know how negotiations go. You know what I mean? Somebody say, no, give me this. And they'd be like, no, I'll give you this. And then you settle on something. Like, what was the negotiations like?
And you know, in that 2-hour period, he had to set that up before he got a hold of the authorities. You know that, right? So you think about it. His negotiation time was like nothing. He literally went he had no negotiation time. He had to literally fabricate a story.
Well, I think he set it up before to happen. Right. I don't know. I think he actually set it up before, and I think that 2 hour in between that, yeah, you might be right that it. Like he just did it right then and there. I don't know.
Depending on the narrative, what you're going with. If he set it up for relevancy, or if he was like out looking for some strange and he was in a weird situation, and then he was like, "All right,
I ran into the guys. Guys, yeah. I need you to do this."
yeah. Or like he was worried that someone might expose him for what he was into, and he was like, "Oh damn! Like, well, just to cover my own tracks, let's set this up." So whichever story you're going with, but I'm still saying I think the best part of that story to me is just being the two guys that that got brought into it. And then here's what I'm thinking too is like it's a win-win if you're the guy who's framing it, the guys who are framing it, because say that everything goes south, and the guy gave you your money and everything. I mean, you can put yourself into relevancy by saying, yeah, we framed it.
Yeah,
we set it up.
We did it because he asked us to do it.
Right,
He paid us. We got the inside story. Oh, they're definitely going to get an inside story. I think they signed some papers that were like, no charges would be filed. All you got to do is cooperate. Now, cha-ching, you're outside. I'm guaranteeing people are hitting these people up like, we'll give you this much for the inside scoop. They're negotiating right now, too.
Yeah,
they're like,
right.
Hey, let's go out and do this for a living.
You're making you just made a couple $1,000 basically off of just like wearing a hat and saying that you choked somebody.
Right. Or even if they were I don't know if it went that far. I can't. They didn't say anything about finding any MAGA hats, and they didn't say that they said that. That might have just been something that he said, but I guarantee they had masks on and they I just wonder, like, when they're beating on him, like, he was like, that's too hard. Don't do
too hard. Easy.
Like, just don't hit me here. You know what I mean? We all seen them movies where something gets set up and they're like, hey, like a inside job, like a bank robbery, like, we're going to have to hit you or something like that. Be like, just don't hit me in this side or hit me over here or something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, my. All right, so switching gears.
Let him go ahead and get the bullshit that he's about to get this week. Tomorrow he'll be a meme.
Tomorrow he'll be a meme. We're going to put this baby into Drive 3 now. We're talking about what happened with Colin Kaepernick. Was it him and Eric Reed got a settlement from the NFL?
Yeah, I think those were the names. And there might be, I'm not sure if there was other names. Those are the most notable names that were on there, him and Eric Reed. And they're saying reporting. I can't believe the number. I'm pretty sure that somebody has some kind of in scoop, but they're saying between 60 and 80 million. I don't know how it's split, but the interesting fact of that, because I'm sure they said if you sign this paper, you can't say anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's hush money. And interesting thing about it is that it happened so fast. The NFL has money where they could stretch that out for years, but they settled fast.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty fast settlement that they gave him. They could have stretched that out for years and been like, prove it. So that tells you that whatever Kaepernick and them had, they had some information that was true.
Yeah, and it was a problem.
Right.
Like it was literally like they had to get rid of it fast because
Yeah. Because if it would have came out.
either it was hurting Bills, it was hurting the league, and like they weren't making as much money or something because of certain things, or the Nike, big companies like Nike and stuff, because Nike backed up Colin Kaepernick, and yeah, think about it, that's a big sponsor of the NFL.
Oh yeah.
So
I'm
you gotta
sure
think
they
about it like that. Like all these companies that endorse what Colin did because they were trying to be on the right side of history, and then the NFL's like, well, we gotta get go to good terms with our people. Like we gotta give these guys some money or something.
right.
Uh,
They used it, and I guarantee you, Nike used it as leverage also to negotiate with the NFL. I guarantee you, everybody involved that has some kind of contract with the NFL was using that as leverage.
Yeah, it does force your hand. I guarantee it. Whenever all of your investors and all of your partners and that see this weakness, this chink in your armor, and go against you, because if they all agree to go against you, well, then you got to start making some deals.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to start cutting some deals.
you gotta cover it up, and that's what it is. My lawyer always said when I had conversation with him, I was like, why don't people like come out and if they didn't do anything wrong, why do they say, well, we just want it over with, or and they make the payment or anything? And he says, trust me, if they make a payment, and especially if they got the money to stretch it out, they make a payment, something went wrong, and there's evidence to show.
Yeah.
So, and my thing is now too, though, like I think me and Melv had this conversation. I had a conversation with other people. I was like, okay, so he got this payday. People are like, you're getting the people coming out of the woodwork. See, it was all about money, blah, 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 blah. But if they did do what he accused them of doing, which shows that, if you made the settlement this fast, they had some kind of evidence. We'll never get to see that.
Yeah.
But if they did do that, he deserves every dollar of it. And I don't see him selling out what he was doing, because he's still been doing it. He's been doing it quiet. You don't see him on social media. Of course, he needs to make a living. He went to Nike. He's seen he can touch more people and causes and bring more partnerships into the cause. He's been spending his money on doing the causes. He started a foundation. He does things when things pop up. He helps out. He's been to Africa. He's done all kinds of things that came out of his pocket, and he's building relationships that are going to do nothing but further and help this cause. It also woke up the NFL. They had to make some changes. The NFL players are now getting leverage in this. So to me, it was an overall win. Last thing I would like to know is, in that contract that they signed, I wonder, did Colin and them say, now I need you to send something to the owners that say it's okay for me to go try out?
Yeah, exactly. I think that would be something, because there has been a lot of rumors now about Colin going somewhere. I've heard rumors from everywhere, from not Green Bay, not Baltimore. From Baltimore.
I could see Baltimore signing him.
I've seen everywhere from Baltimore to Florida to Oakland to. Well, I'm trying to think of the last one. There's one like that was like very specific, and I can't think of what one it was, and it's driving me crazy.
You know who I think would be a great pick on him, because you're going to get him for cheap. He can't go in and ask, like the report said about the owner of the AAF. They asked Colin and Tim Tebow to come over, and they said that they asked for like $20 million or something like that. They just don't have the money to put into a player like that and sponsor him. I think he could have actually got like ownership of part of the league if he really did it, him and Tim Tebow. I think they might have just not negotiated enough, or they're not willing to go through the process. But I think the perfect fit for him would be, and they wouldn't have to spend that much money, the rebuilding would be the Jags.
Yeah, that was the team I was thinking of, was the Jags. Yeah, I mean, because you got Blake down there. I mean, why not? I mean, in terms of like how Cap and how Blake play, they're kind of not similar, I would say, but they're they're kind of on par. I mean, the way they went out, like whenever Cap was leaving, it was kind of similar to how it was whenever Blake was playing just this past season. Like because Cap wasn't playing very well when he left.
Well, I don't know about that. The last season, what he had 20.
Well, no, he did good, but I'm saying like the last season,
winning.
Yeah, he just wasn't winning games, and I was saying that like the last season he wasn't bad. He was. I'd probably compare his ending season to like Derek Carr's, where it wasn't like spectacular numbers, but he did what a quarterback was asked to do. So,
yeah, I think there was many factors that were going into that season. Yeah, he wasn't lighting up the board. Don't get me wrong, and I don't think he is that guy. I think he's a guy. He's a Band-Aid guy. I really don't see. He's a transition guy, unless he went and tightened up his skills from this time he had off. And that could be a case that, when a long NFL season runs, you're going to take that time off. You're going to be with your families. You're going to have some fun. You're going to travel, and you get out of the football, type of vibe until it's time to get back to work, maybe a little bit before you start getting back into that. Now, he's had this whole time, he's doing a lot of stuff. He could have been touching up. There was videos floating around of him doing a lot of working out with some people. He could have been touching up on his weaknesses. Now, he could come back and be more productive and more efficient. And I never stood for the fact that he was this great quarterback, but I didn't think that the people saying, well, he's just not a great quarterback, that's why he's out of the league. That's bullshit, because if you go down the line of all the backups, there's some horrible backups out there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, there's definitely some horrible backups. So
there's some horrible backups out there.
I wouldn't even call them backups. They're more like, oh my God, you're the guy that we have. Go in. Unfortunately, you're the dude that we have behind our starting quarterback. For the love of God, just don't throw 5 picks. Just go.
Yeah, just go out there. What's his name? They probably don't even know his name.
What's your name? Glenna who? Get out there.
Get out there. You're out there. Where's your helmet?
Where's your helmet? You gotta wear a helmet. Don't you get it? Like, go.
Right. So it's just crazy. And a couple people I had a conversation with about is like, oh, he got his money. Why should he? To me, it would be a personal thing at this point. Mm-hmm. I want to go and say, you know what? And to me, do you say to a football player, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are in it just for the paycheck and their passion's not there. But that's got to be a very small percentage of people in the NFL. They have to have that passion to play that game, man. To be able to, especially if you're successful at it. Mm-hmm. That passion has got to be overwhelming. Are we saying that if he gets the opportunity and he says no to the opportunity, that he really didn't have the passion for the game? Or does he have? I would want, me personally, and knowing what I got inside me, and I was in Colin's shoes, I want that opportunity to shut everybody the fuck up.
Yeah. A last hurrah. I mean, even if you go out there and just play you play a couple games that show, hey, I could have been a good quarterback in the NFL. Maybe not a great. I mean, if you that's the goal, good. But a good quarterback, and say, yeah, see, and then leave. And I think you get an opportunity whenever if you go down to Jacksonville. I think you get that opportunity.
Oh yeah, I think that he would definitely be a good fit, because they're not going to have to pay him that much, and you got a pretty solid defense down there that's going to keep you in the game, so you could go through. I just never understood why Blake Bortles couldn't make that happen. Sometimes he looked like he's like Fitz, but he never had big games like Fitzmagic. But Fitzmagic is one of those players and maybe Nick Foles we're going to have to see too, that can get a good stretch going and, win some games. Like that game he played against New England, he played perfect when they beat New England earlier in this past season. I watched the whole game. He played a perfect game. It looked great, but the next week he went out and threw a dud, yo.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Ryan Fitzmagic, I think, is more of and this is just my opinion. Like Blake Bortles is more of he can be a good quarterback in game management situations, and he can make plays sometimes. But I mean, Ryan Fitzmagic isn't like that. He's a cannon. Literally, it's 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, or it's nothing.
Or it's 5 picks.
Yeah, or it's 5 picks. It's like that's where you get revived.
I love it though. I would sign if he's a free agent too, though. I would sign Fitzpatrick if he was out there. The reason why I would sign it because he doesn't give a fuck, and that would be the type of fucking like energy I would want around there. Like he's the guy that you have. You know how you have to like coaches come to you. I do this all the time. As I say, hey man, I don't care if you're playing fast and hard about the mistakes. Just keep playing fast and hard. It'll work out in the end. You can make those mistake. You don't have to tell Fitzpatrick that. He's with that shit, yo.
Literally. Well, and especially if he's your backup, because if he's your backup, it's just gonna be fun for you because you're like, all right, which Fitzmagic are we getting today?
Like, get out there, Fitz.
Yeah, I mean, because like if there's someone out there that like like you just don't know about him, like I don't know, he's like he hasn't been too good, or his best game was 2 touchdowns. You're like, But then whenever you have Ryan Fitzmagic come in on your backup, you're like, all right, we're either throwing 5 picks or we're throwing 5 touchdowns. So let's go, Ryan. Come on, baby.
Let's go do it, man. He's just like, whatever, yo. It's whatever. And you know, them type of players, it's not, he would be the type of player that I would make cap space for, because not for his performances, is because you can tell he has the attitude of it's whatever. You need me to go in there. It is what it is. You know what I'm about, and he's not going to be that person that's going to be timid or shy. Yeah. So I'm with it.
Yeah, like I said, that's. But back to Colin. Sorry. But back to Colin. I'm not talking about playing now. So this is a meme that I saw from NFL memes that said. It was like believe in something, or at least until you get paid.
I seen that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, and it really rubbed me the wrong way when I read it because I'm sitting there looking at it and I was like, man, that's some bullshit. I'm like, I'm sorry, I've just like you said about all the things Colin's done. I've seen Colin do all these things out of his own pocket, and to think that just now because he got money, that he's gonna stop being that guy and stop believing in those causes. You're just a horse's ass. I mean, you really are. You're just a douchebag. I mean, because he's been doing this for a while now. He's been doing this for a while, and that money. I mean, I guarantee you that money's not the same. I mean, it is because he wants to carry generational wealth. Because that's the thing about the black community is like if we're gonna start having black and white people on equal playing field, you got to have black and white people at those financial playing fields as well.
Right.
And what I was saying was that you have the black and white people there,
and that's one of his programs that he's teaching.
Is building generational wealth.
Is to use your money and build credit and stuff like that. The things that need to be taught to kids at a younger age, and that's solely something that I get behind all the time, especially kids in the inner city. And
that's not just black kids too. That's white kids. I mean, that's everybody's kids. They don't teach them shit.
It's anything, because those are things that are not taught in school, and I think they should be. And either you're gonna get it, you're supposed to get that from home, but there's a lot of dysfunction in homes nowadays. So
yeah. Hey, our guy here from Melvin came at us and said, hey, I'll be more impressed if he bought a franchise, the AAF, XFL, or FFL. No need for him to play anymore. And that was something I was going to say is like, it'd be nice for Colin because he's making those connections to be a nice guy at the forefront of these other leagues that are coming up. Mm-hmm. Only because if he is, he gets that say and he'll make sure that the players are treated right in those leagues, which might actually lead up to those leagues being competitors with the NFL.
Yeah, and I like Melvin sent me one of those things, and he said that there's no need to put your body in thing. But I'm going to go back to the passion of it. Mm-hmm. You only get a small window to use your physical attributes. I think me being a passionate person in the fight and the love that I have for the football game, is it one of those things that he doesn't have to do it? No, he could do both of those things. It doesn't.
That is true.
I don't think there's a rule book where he can say, hey, I'm going to go play 2 more years of the NFL. I don't want to go down the line and have a regret to saying, hey, I could have went out there and gave it one more shot. 1, to prove these people wrong, or 2, to prove to myself for the love of the game. And I could still have a committee of my people to work on doing, because he's not going to get it right away. If he did go to a franchise and try to do all that, he's going to have to get in a process of doing that and do what has to be done, and that might take a couple of years or so. So he could get his team together to work on that. He could work on that and that, but he could still have that little bit of time he has left to use his physical attributes to get out on that field. To me, it's now, does Colin have that passion to play or not? And I'm sure we're going to find out within the next couple weeks.
Yeah, and I hope. I mean, either way for me, I'm happy. If he did invest in one of those other leagues and got it, didn't play, I'm cool with that. If he went and played in the NFL, I'm cool with that too. I mean, I would like to see Colin back in football, to be honest with you. You know, just because they give us a taste of something old but new. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't seen Colin in a long time. I would like to see that opportunity again. It'd be interesting, rather than seeing, you know, because I mean, like, when we see rookie quarterbacks, we're like, oh yeah, here comes, you know, Kyler Murray, or, you know, who's another good one coming out of this year's class. Regardless, when you see these quarterbacks that are coming out, you're kind of just like, well, I'd like to see Colin again over top of maybe the rookies, because the rookies, you know, I mean, not to say that I don't expect good things out of rookies. I just would like to see what Colin can bring back. It's like a nice redemption story.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I see. You know, like, there's not really much of a story. It's Kyler Murray, the rookie quarterback. I've seen that a million times. Show me Colin Kaepernick, the guy who got basically ripped out of the NFL because and basically when the NFL paid them that money, they basically said, yeah, you're right, we kept you out of the NFL. That was what the whole thing was about, really. Was like,
right.
We kept you from playing.
That's what lawsuits are, and he had some kind of evidence.
Yeah, so basically he knew that. So now we're saying is like, so the league basically kept you out, and now you fought your way back in and got some money, and you're in now, and now you're playing for a team. I would like to see that story, and then him go out there and play good.
Right. And like I said, yeah, I believe in that too. Like, but me, I mean, I've been in football for all these years, player, coaches, and the reason why I want to see him do it is because, like, it's just, the only reason is, to me, the back seat is proving them wrong. Like, that he doesn't belong as an NFL quarterback. It's not that. It's what I have for the love of the game, that I would say, I would hope that his passion is that great for the game that he's played and everything that he goes through to go out there, because I would like to see him be successful at that position, just to see what he could have really did if he got with the right team and had a little time to get it adjusted. Because from my understanding, when Jim Harbaugh left, like, I think if he would have went around and worked on some of those things he had to work, and they went through the shuffling process at the 49ers. There was so much stuff going on, different coordinators, coaches. Like, you can't get settled in that, and and especially if you do have a lot of flaws that you can't just plug and play at some things, you might need some special attentions with things, and that longevity working with certain people will help you get past that. And I just think if he could get, I just want to see that, for the love of me, of loving football. Yeah. Other than that, I'm glad he got his money. Go do what you want to do, Colin. Keep standing up for the injustice shit. It needs to be done. And I think what happened with this whole thing is going to bring a change to how the NFL is dealing with people of color in the NFL, or just rights in general with the NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's this equal rights movement is going to keep gaining more and more traction, to eventually it's not even a problem anymore. But your guy Melvin, our boy Melvin, come at us and said the passion and love for the game is overrated. And we don't find that out. We don't find that out until it's too late, or with good mentorship like Megatron received.
Yeah. Oh, Melvin, Melvin, you're starting to sound like you never played a sport before. Are you passionate, baby? Were you passionate about the sport? Yeah, it is. To me, that's pretty much all it is right there. Like, if I look at what I've accomplished in life in that spectrum and being passionate about sports, if I look back at, if I would have took a different route, because I had an injury, I didn't tell nobody, and I made the injury worse to where I couldn't play at an early age. if I would have took the proper steps, I look back at sometimes when I'm out there coaching and be like, damn, I wish I could be out there again and made the right decision before, just to see how far I could have took it.
Yeah. Hey, give me 1 second. I gotta go run a little errand. I'll be back in like 2 seconds.
All right.
Keep keep
Mel,
keep keep coming at Melvin though. Talk a little bit about Megatron because I like Megatron and no, we don't talk about him enough.
Megatron?
Megatron, Calvin Johnson Jr., Detroit Lions.
Yeah, no, but he retired. I mean, what do you mean? What were you saying?
He was saying about good mentorship. Like we don't find out about someone's passion from the game until we see them. Like good mentorship. Like we don't find out until it's too late. Or with good mentorship, like Megatron. Like we don't see how someone had passion for the game. Hold on, Melvin clarified. The passion and love for the game is why players take pay cuts to earn trophies, statuses, bragging rights, etc., in trade off for your health, etc. In a trade off for your health. They're trading all that winning off and that less money for their health.
Okay. Yeah, I could see. Yeah, that's something like that. I mean, yeah, like he's definitely, if he comes back to the game now, he's going to be trading off because they're not going to pay him what he was at when he left. If he decided to do that out of passion, like what I'm saying, and I get everything that you're saying, it's one of those inner things. It's an inner thing. Like, how important is it to him? I don't think it is how important it is to us. I think how important it is to the individual that is showing the passion that he has for everything. Maybe he has moved on. Maybe he said, hey, I'm going to be honest with myself. I gave that a try. I moved into this realm. I think he's moving. I think he definitely has a position in what LeBron James is doing up in Hollywood. That was been not speculated. I think LeBron has came out and said some things before that they're going to do some work with Colin Kaepernick, which has to do with a lot of things that where LeBron's going in into the Hollywood. LeBron's going to change a lot of things in Hollywood, and Cap's definitely got a seat at that table. Maybe his passion has shifted towards this his programs that he's running, working with the youth, working in justice. Maybe he's going to come out more and take that leadership role, and that's where his passion is at. I'm speaking like just thinking like that's what I think I would like to see, even if it was just for 1 year, just to see what it would be like. So I guess it's more or less what is Colin going to do. And I'm pretty sure that it's going to be all over ESPN this week, all over the talk shows, Jim Rome. Everybody is going to cover it. I think I'm going to do my coach's corner a little bit on it and get a little deeper into that subject. So we're going to see. We're going to see what people think. That I would like to know. You know, I didn't get to talk to him. And Melvin, I think, is the first person I had a conversation with. I didn't get enough info from all the other people that I respect their opinion about the game and see what they think about it. Because to me, I think he shouldn't be pressured into thinking like that. People are saying, oh, he just, you know, he got his money, he's out. He shouldn't come back because of that. He should come back because he wants to prove something to himself, that he could still play that game at a high level. So we're just going to have to see how it goes. I'm not sure what Dev was talking about Megatron. I mean,
but I didn't know. I just like Megatron. So I was like, talk about Megatron. Megatron was cool. He was a really cool wide receiver for the Detroit Lions. But hold on. Melvin got back to us again. He said, laughing my butt off. He said, yeah, I had love for the game early on as well, but it's time to move on from the gladiator lifestyles. And he said, how many generations do we have to keep doing this?
I get what he's saying now. He said that to me earlier. He's saying it like it's a business. It's the new and if you look at it, there's an interesting. I don't know where this is at. I couldn't find it. I don't remember the name, but there's a video on YouTube that compares how they used to do and how they used to auction off slaves to the combine, on how they look at, like, it is crazy if you connect it. Like, they got these people taking their shirts off and they're measuring them and they're jumping up and everything that they're doing is what they used to do back in the slavery time. So I get what Melvin is coming at.
Yeah,
and the gladiator thing he's saying, that's what they used to do back in Rome, and that is all true. These things are all true. It's $1 billion industry, and he that is a factor that I guarantee you that Colin is taking in. and he's probably talking about that, and he's definitely right on that opinion of saying like enough is enough, because who knows, you could go out there and end up like God forbid Ryan Shazier
Yeah.
on any down.
Yeah. Well, two things. So you were making the point about like it being slavery, and I was gonna say it could be argued from any point of life that anything slavery. I mean, we're all slaves of the societal system we live in. We're all slaves of this or that other thing. And I was saying at the NFL, white people can't play in it as well. I mean, I'm not saying it, but I do see what you're saying, and I do agree with it because of because as soon as the black people started taking a stand in their league, they were like, whoa, whenever Colin started taking the knee and Eric Reed and them, they were like, whoa,
Yeah,
okay. So that's what that shows their intent. But the thing that I want to wrap this back down to Megatron, only because Melvin clarified. He said, my example for Megatron was that he found out passion is overrated the easy way. Because he got out and was like he was getting injured all the time and stuff. But the rest find out too soon, like Junior Seau did.
Too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, Junior Seau, that was a sad story. I love Junior Seau, and that was it could be the passion over. I mean, you don't do anything in life. You're taught not to do anything in life without having passion for it. I think I guess is it
passion overrated is the question.
Yeah, is it overrated, or do you just take the safe route and everything? Because you don't gain anything without any risk. And I guarantee you that Megatron's bank account, he's not regretting that passion.
Yeah, well,
he's able to do more, because if you're being taught, like he took the same route as Barry Sanders did, retired early. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So Barry Sanders, I seen something on him. The reason why he said, yeah, I just had enough of beating up my body. There comes that point where you be like, okay, this is enough. You start to get the facts. You start to get what's going to happen to your body, and you make that decision. You know what I mean? On that, I guess you'll go with your family members. You'll talk. You'll discuss. You'll see what your financials are. Right. So that's why it's very important. Like if you do go that route to play in the NFL and stuff like that, you definitely better take care of that money.
Well, but the thing I was going to say about passion, and this is just in general in life, is that if you have a passion for something, because not everybody's idea of a life is the safe route. Not everybody's idea of a life is the settle down, have a family, have some kids, 9 to 5 or whatever. That's not everybody's dream. Some people's dreams like, man, I just want to live in notoriety and play this sport and be one of the greatest to ever play it. Or, yeah, I want to be a scientist who discovers this, that, or the other thing. I want to go out exploring the world. Everybody's idea of a life isn't about the safe route or their bodies, because maybe they'll put their bodies at risk, but they want to experience the world for what it is at the end of the day. Like, they're okay with dying at 50, if they're going to go out and do all these crazy, insane things that they never thought. A lot of bodybuilders, that's something that, to bring on, like bodybuilders, they die kind of young because of all the stuff they take and all the work they put in and everything, the strain they put on their bodies,
Yes, it's a thing.
And my question there would be, is it that do the bodybuilders at the end of the day, at the end of their lives, they know the risks and they say, that's okay because I want to be one of the strongest people to ever walk this earth, at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that just reminds me, I think I shared it, or I might not have. Mm-hmm. I just seen today a 89-year-old man deadlift, or what's deadlift? What's the one where you switch your hands like this?
No, it was definitely a deadlift. Yeah, I saw the video too.
It was
like 400 pounds, I believe, or something.
405. He did it twice. Is that maybe he's a person because the ones that you're talking about specifically are all those crazy gym shoot up steroids type people.
Yeah, right.
Right? Yeah, that's going to kill you. You're putting steroids in your body, it's going to kill you. I mean, athletes go through that. I seen the interview of Hulk Hogan about, him explaining what happens in wrestling and how messed up he is because of what he felt like like you said about people want that notoriety and that whole persona that was built for him. It basically his body. I think he said he's like a foot smaller than he was,
mm-hmm.
Because how they had to remove bones and the structure and everything that happened to him, and him not realizing that the persona that he was living was going to take his life to where it was at right now. So those are the type of things that you're looking at. Like your body, you only got your body. For, you know, your mind, you can always elevate. So I do see that. You want to keep your body as healthy as possible as you go forward.
All I'm saying is I know there are people that exist who they know the risk and say, well, this is the life I want to live. I just want to do these
personality.
Things. So at the end of the day, I mean, we can argue about it, but that decision comes up. That passion for the game or for whatever it is that you have, it's not up to us to be like, man, it's time to throw that gladiator lifestyle away. I think that's up to the individual who says, do I want to throw this out?
I think he's speaking on it. You're what you're going with it. He's speaking on the black community. He's speaking in that specific thing. I know what he's saying.
Right.
He's not saying individually people. He's saying like you hear like saying it from a black person's perspective because it's always going to the sport is dominated by black. Mm-hmm. Period. It's just that simple, but not the money. The money is we're looking at that's the comparison that people are making while saying it's a slave plantation is because they're not letting people be owners. They're not letting people that are fully qualified have the money to do it. They're not letting them in that good old boys club, but they're sitting there putting them out on display. The same thing. It's a systematic thing. It's just a different way to get money to help build wealth.
And they're making money off of them again, the same way.
And he's saying in a manner like you don't have to do that in that change the mindset of being out there doing that for sport and stuff like that. I get exactly what he's saying. Yeah. It's more or less of that. So, but people there's people that, like you said, like you're saying, that have that personality. Like everybody has a different, there's like certain classes of personality that some people take those risks. Some people live for just today. Some people live for tomorrow. And that's what, you're definitely right about that. Nobody has a right to say what people want. I think he was speaking on that.
No. I mean, that was, I was just saying that in reference to the question that I think was being posed about passion was like, should we follow our passions more or worry about, the long game? And I was just saying that for everybody out there, that your life's passion is what you make of it. So if I mean, sure, you want to be healthy and alive, whatever, but I mean, it's your life. So if you want to go do something crazy, I mean, that's not my excuse for you to go do drugs or anything. I mean, whatever, it's your life, you do what you want with it. But, think about those things. And if that's what you really want to do, do it. But to bring it full circle, back to Colin, what I was going to say was that, if Colin does get his own league, or not his own league, if he started like part ownership of a league or something, right, we were just thinking about that, it'd be good for him to have that and, be a part of it. And then that, again, would be a foundation to get people in those leagues, and make sure they're treated right and get those things. And then, also not to exploit those people.
Is Melvin still on? If you're on there, you can't add him right now. But, you're right. And I think I've been watching this. I'm going to cover it on In-Depth Coach Corner. Maybe we'll do it this. You can run your little magic on it. I want to get in depth on that. And I think it would be a good thing. They need a face for that AFF because I've been watching it the last couple of weeks, and I think I commented on it. Like, I just didn't have no interest in it, but I did some more research in it. And like you said, that could be a perfect position for him to help build something because I believe that this league in XFL will make it. I think they will. And I think I shared this meme that I think this is interesting. I think this is how the NFL can help these smaller leagues, in turn will help their brand and their product, is if they do what that meme said, is like the XFL, once it gets up and running, in the AAF, they play for a championship, and whoever wins that gets a chance to play the smallest league in the NFL. You know what I mean? And if the most losing team of that year, and if that team that wins out of the XFL and the AFF can beat that team, they can move up into the NFL. I think that would be crazy dope.
Yeah, because then those lower end teams would have to go play in like those lower leagues, and then they'd have to do that sort of thing. What sport? Isn't like soccer I'm trying to think of what league, what it is where like you can move up ranks and tiers into different, like your team can become a professional team, and then other team. I want to say it's like European soccer and stuff. Like there's certain teams over there, like they move up different leagues.
I think I've seen something on that. That probably be is, but I think it would be great. I think you like, and it'll show that the NFL has some kind of like outside of what we were just talking about, outside of people's future. Like if they can't make it there, like what is the NFL? Okay, you didn't make it. Peace. See you later. But if you do that, you can say, hey, that could be something you could say to these guys as they're coming up and their heads down, walking off the field. Say, hey man, get over there and work yourself back in here, because let's be honest, if you don't make that roster, you can do which is a great job to be a practice player because they get paid well. You get like $8 grand a week being a practice squad.
Yeah.
But now you can go over to a league where you'll be on TV, national TV. People, you'll get to make a name for you. You might be that in that league for all your life, but you got another opportunity.
And if you're passionate about the sport, you get probably more playing time too as well.
Yeah.
The opportunity to play. Maybe not as big a stage, but you get to play and you get paid, and that's the thing. But Melvin said this comment here. He said exactly the passion in the midst of the racist Clipper owner who wouldn't allow Doc Rivers and the whole Clippers team to take a stand versus the playoff run. That was, I think he actually brought that up, I think, last week when we talked.
Yeah,
he did.
It's part of the thing, whether we want to believe it or not. The power structure in this country, and I just think that it's coming to the point where people are going to have to take their stand. Are you going to stand on? You want it to stay the same as it's been, or are you going to? And our culture also has to, the black culture also has to understand that. Forget asking for it. Take care of your business. Things like working your money right, credit, stuff like that. So there's nothing they can do to stop you. Working together, the power structure will change if you get with the right people. You get with the people that don't have that kind of mentality, that old mentality of old boys, old club, whatever the fuck they call that shit. Don't have that mentality. There's plenty of people out here with different cultures and races that you can sit down and work that agenda, because like I said, we've seen that there's rules made up. Just this past election shows it. That, however, I don't know when that came into effect. Like, did that electoral vote come in effect when it came into effect? Was it when the voting process was made up or whatever, or did that come down the line? But we see that the majority of people in this country did not want that to happen. You know what I mean? So that means that amount of people, there's a good amount of those people that will work together with each other to make sure that that power structure cannot keep doing the same things over and over.
Mm-hmm. Right. All right. So I think that's it for all I have to say. Coach, you got anything else?
Read a book.
Read a book.
Can you see that?
Which one is this? A Complete Idiot's Guide to Overcoming Procrastination. There you go.
Yeah, I had a few things on my to-do list that I've been procrastinating and avoiding, and I needed a little bit of extra push, being like, you idiot, go stop procrastinating and go do it. I got books everywhere. Definitely what we always say around here, do your research, guys. Get motivated. Go out there and do something and use your passion. Yeah, speak on that passion. But as always, guys, like I said, like the video, share it. Please, even if you weren't here during the live stream, comment on the video. We do read the comments. We always do. Tell us what you think. But as always, stay beautiful. Take care of yourselves. See ya.